All right, man. We're rocking and rolling here. Back on Raconteurista.
Raconteurista. Back on Raconteurista.
There we are. We're back at it, man.
Everything's got a rhyme, man.
Yeah. All right. This is Brian Fuller with my cohort.
Dave Kendall.
There we go. Dave Kendall. Don't wear that fucking name out, all right, man?
All right. Anything you say, buddy.
Dave thought we've been rolling for the last 20 minutes.
And it was the funniest. The rest of it will just be garbage.
Well, we peaked. We're
early.
We're like premature ejaculators. That's what we are here. You know. There we are. We're gone. We're done.
Like, damn, it feels good. Uh-oh. Well, I'll see you later. Wow, look at the time.
Hey, I can still hit happy hour.
Oh.
I put the R in romance, don't I?
Yeah, you can have the appetizers. I'm done. You ever hear these jokes about there's Australian men are notoriously bad lovers, so there's all these jokes about how's an Aussie man like a koala bear? It eats roots, shoots, and leaves.
Why do I have a feeling there's some joke in there about a bloomin' onion?
You fucking blue. Oh, that's the Irish.
You're like me. Every time I try to do a dialect, I sound like the opposite. It's like, do Spanish. Hey, mate, what are you doing?
Yeah, I know, right.
He said Spanish. Oh, shit. I'm sorry.
And I thought I was pretty good at doing at accents and mimicking, and then I had an opportunity to actually try to make money doing that at one point. That's a long story. Anyway, like at Fiverr, there was this freelance thing where you could do something for $5. I was living in Costa Rica and trying to make money, and I'd say I'll do any kind of commercial you have in a voice of anybody.
Yeah.
And people would ask me and then they wouldn't even pay me $5.
In Costa Rican dollars?
Yeah, no, it'd be like. It'd be like, well, dude, I want my golf club commercial done with Clint Eastwood, and be like, hey, I guess you're gonna fucking shoot some clubs, hey? And then I would even listen to it and go, that doesn't sound anything.
Did you pay them $5?
They wouldn't even pay $5.
You just gave them $5. You're just forget I was even here.
And then I go somewhere and it turns out that's the biggest ad campaign.
Yeah. If you go down there and you actually do that joke in a bar, people going, "Oh man, you sound just like that guy on the news, on the radio. That is so freaking awesome."
Yeah, I don't know if I shot 5 holes with 6, punk. And easy stuff too. Even like Jack Nicholson.
You're big in Costa Rica, are you?
I'm pretty. Yeah, I was a pretty big deal in Costa Rica.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
You can't not prove I was.
Well, hey, welcome to another podcast here. We want to let you know that we are coming to you live from Chicobre, Texas, and our mezcals of the day here are, what is that?
That's
Don Mateo. De la Sierra.
De la Sierra.
And Rey Campero. And, oh, by the way, we don't have a sponsorship yet, but I'm going to do a shout out to Austin Shake, where I bought this. They're just down the road from me here.
Yeah.
So
do it.
I'm going to tell them that we said their name on air.
And they'll be like, do not ever say they'll listen to this show and then say, please don't ever mention us ever.
If they're good business people, they will. They'll go, what? Couple words for you here, boys. Cease and desist.
Yeah, right. What's this letter? We were trying to help you guys.
No, I got that one there from them, but let's have a little, let's bring in our mezcal.
We might as well get started.
Might as well get started here.
Get started in a right way.
We started a little bit early here because I got to watch a football game today, so.
I know, yeah, but we're doing it early. We're doing it early today because Brian had to watch a football game.
I know, and I'm so not a football. I am to a certain degree because Oklahoma State playing Texas. So
I mean, you're acting like that. You act like, they might beat them for a change. It's like they've been beating their ass for the last few years.
Well, I went to OSU, and every time I went, we were always losing. So.
Well, yeah, but that was like that was like in the Stone Age, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. Ooh, that's good.
Whoa.
Whoa.
That's got something. That's got a
Don Mateo.
That's got a whang to it.
It does, man.
What does it sound like? Michoacan.
Michoacan.
See, look, because here's the deal on this.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. What's the other one say? Almost all mezcals and come from Oaxaca.
I know. Yeah.
So this has got a.
I think this one's Oaxaca.
You know what? This one it's got a little tang of gunpowder in it. Michoacan.
Gunpowder.
I used to go to.
Hold on, I'm going to turn something off here. Hold on just a second.
He's going to turn something off here. Besides every listener that's out there. Besides every woman he ever met.
No,
besides all that, right?
No. Donna's in there with the television blaring.
Well, that's perfect. It sounds like we're in a trailer park.
We are pretty close.
Buford! Put your false teeth back in your mouth.
False teeth back in your mouth. Where did Buford have them?
Well, I'll tell you this.
Yeah.
There was a no.
Did you ever put your? Go ahead.
I'm from a real small town up in Tennessee.
Yeah,
All right,
yeah.
little tiny
Yeah,
place,
yeah.
like a population of 110.
Wow.
And there was a guy up there. His name was Dome Todd. These people all dead.
D-O-M-E?
I don't know, or D-O-A-M.
D-O-A-M.
I don't know. That's the thing. And I started wondering this. Probably D-O-M-E because, he was, when I knew him, he was old and he was like bald headed and he was a fucking alcoholic. But he had this.
My whole life.
He had this divot. You started out of the bald. He had a divot in his skull.
Oh no.
And it turned out that he had a brain surgery.
Oh really?
Before the brain surgery, he was like a teetotaling, church-going, pious, pillar of the community. Something, after that, just a sot drunkard would just get. And his poor old wife had to deal with it.
Man.
And he would come home and, she had sympathy for him because she knew what he was before.
Yeah.
And he'd come home and he'd throw up and she'd have to clean up the vomit. And she did this over and over until finally one night she got sick of it and he came home and he started to get sick and she held up, a pans for him to throw up in.
Yeah.
And he threw up his false teeth into the pan of vomit. And the next morning he gets up and, oh God, normally she would have take those, cleaned them and have them ready.
Yeah,
and the next morning he gets up and she's like, well, where's my false teeth at? And she's outside look out the back door. And so it's real cold. And so he goes outside and his false teeth are frozen in a pool of alcoholic vomit. And he's got to chip it out. He was drunk as shit when he told this story, so he didn't learn a goddamn. Poor thing. I feel sorry for her.
Oh my God. I never thought about the pitfalls of dentures. If you're puking, those things can shoot out.
Yeah.
I never even thought about that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there you go, kids. Reason number 1, floss and brush.
Absolutely.
If you puke, you don't want to shoot your fucking teeth out.
And don't ever get brain surgery.
And don't get the name Dome. Same thing.
Well, that's not. That has nothing to do with it.
Like Crater Dome, but they had a crater.
Well,
my grandfather, he and his 3 brothers, they were crazy as hell, right? And they lived up in Oklahoma when it was still an Indian territory, right? They lived up there, and they're going to go out fishing one day. They skipped school to go out fishing, and they went to go get some worms, and they got a pickaxe out to get some worms. And Arlen went down. My granddad went down, picked, pulled the axe back up, hit Leland right in the freaking head with the pick, and cracked his skull. But these guys go, whoa, we don't want to get in trouble. And we still want to go fishing. So they just got mud and stuck it in the hole in his head. Stuck mud in the hole in his head and went fishing. And Leland to that day still had a big old dent in his head.
Are you kidding? Are you telling this story for the truth?
Well, my granddad told me the story and I saw the dent, so I can only imagine it's the truth. Yeah.
Because do you know the story I told about
What?
the guy? There was a guy in my hometown.
No. I don't know that story.
There was 2 guys. Anyway, this is very weird.
Is it Dome?
No, not Dome Todd. This is another guy. There were
Dome
two great
Todd.
lying guys, bullshit artists in my hometown.
Every town has one. You had two.
But Ed
At
Cox.
110.
Well, this guy told a
110, that
story.
percentage is high.
Yeah, 2 out of 100. That's
Yeah,
true.
it's
That
pretty-
is.
yeah, yeah.
We probably a little over the median on
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
But he told his story about. I'm not going to tell the whole. It's a long story, but he told. This is crazy. You just said that. That he told this story. He had this brother named Woodrow.
Yeah.
That was the center of a lot of these stories, and but nobody that I ever knew ever actually saw this brother Woodrow or knew anything about. Like did he even exist?
Yeah.
But he was the kind of guy.
Wait. You're telling 110 and nobody knows that this guy exists?
Yeah, it's kind of like that. Like, yeah, it'd be like
People weren't that curious, were they? Hey, does Woodrow exist? I don't know. You can go outside and look. That's
Woodrow.
good. That's
Oh,
good.
man. Well, no, Woodrow, 'cause-
I'll just question it.
Well, the way he explained it, Woodrow
I'll
left.
question it from a couch.
Woodrow left real young, because Woodrow did things like hike, he joined the French Foreign Legion and walked across the Saharan desert in his long johns.
Costello.
Look, this guy. We'll have to talk about him sometime. This guy, he would sit in front of the store, the general store, like chewing tobacco. He was a wild-looking guy. He drove a school bus and he did a little farming. And you could say literally anything to him, like, man, it's hot today, or just anything, and he would just go on this epic. But I had hurt my ankle or something, or my foot, and I was kind of limping. I walked over there, God damn boy, what happened to your goddamn foot? And I'm like, well, I just sprained it. And he's like, hell, you ought to be like my brother Woodrow.
Was Woodrow the benchmark of what you should and shouldn't
Yeah,
do?
Woodrow
in that town?
but yeah, anytime he needed it's called like I think that in the Greek mythology, it's or it's plays. There's a thing called a deus ex machina, where it is
Whoa.
you bring in a thing in a play, like a plot device, and it's called like God. It's a deus is God. Anyway, you bring in a device to explain everything.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's a device you bring into like a play.
Uh-huh.
You just pop it in there. It's like, oh, well, Loki's here. That's why all this crazy shit happened. And Woodrow was like, if any, well, goddamn Woodrow, I'll tell you about him. And he claimed that like Woodrow, his brother Woodrow was famous for two things, in that he had the sharpest axe, and he didn't like to wear shoes.
That's a bad combo.
And he claimed that like one time they went to cut wood when they was kids, and Woodrow accidentally cut his big toe off.
Yeah.
And after his daddy had like specifically said keep his shoes on. And so
Daddy didn't say, hey, don't walk around the fucking axe.
yeah, he just said keep your shoes on in case you cut your foot off. And so Ed was going to go back and like get help, and Woodrow was like, fuck no, Daddy will beat my ass if he knows I cut my big toe off. And so the scheme was they put his big toe back on.
Yeah.
They wrapped it with mud
Oh, well, there you go.
and covered it up with some cloth,
There you are.
and like it grew back on.
There you are. And
Like
it grew
your
back
guy.
on. It grew back on.
It grew back on,
Oh,
but
man.
it was upside down. I'm not lying. I am not lying. He told that story.
You need to do a whole Woodrow book.
Yeah, the whole
You need to do a whole Woodrow
yeah.
book.
Yeah.
Oh, that is awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was.
Oh man. Well, I'm going to get into something from last week. real
Oh,
quick.
good.
All right. Last week, and by the way, there's another we've had over 30 downloads.
Whoa!
30 downloads in total. So we're consistent. Every week is around 15 or so. So the 15 that listened to it last week, you know what's coming here. You've been waiting for it all week. The Snake Taint hits.
Snake Taint.
Snake Taint.
Oh, man.
The greatest punk band ever not invented. Or invented, but never played. And so we're going to come to you with, and I want to preface this with, I love this one. Dave hit me up this week. He showed me, he gave me one of his Snake Taint hit songs. And I was like, hey, Dave, I go, let's just go ahead and, keep it for the podcast. Like, we should have a top 10. He goes, top 10. I think top 25. I'm top 50. I'm top 50.
Hey, we're in the 25, 35, 35, 45, 50, so.
Which kind of freaked me out. I go, fucking top 50. Shit, I'm getting 10 or so, but 50, goddamn. And I got to admit, I got a little stressed out until you get over here and go, yeah, man, I don't know what the fuck I was talking about when I said that. I was like,
I was sure I'd have 50 by now. And then I promptly forgot about it.
ADD much?
I mean, and it was, it was coming so easily to me. I thought it was just inexhaustible. But I
Well,
did come up with a few.
I did too. Okay. So, for all you at home, and play along with you.
Yeah, play
Get out
along.
your scorecards, and this is Snake Taint's hit song Bingo. Snake Taint doing their covers. Do your
Hit
bingo.
song bingo.
It's bingo, is what it is. Okay, you want to start it off, my friend?
Okay.
And I'll see if I have some of these.
Okay.
Yeah,
When the taints go marching in.
that's perfect. Okay, along those lines, I go with this one. Taint no mountain high enough.
Taint it peculiar.
You probably have this one. Taint get no satisfaction. You didn't have that one? Mm-mm. Oh, man.
I do have, however, taint it black.
I missed that one. Okay. Oh, all right. I got this one here because I hate the band Journey. So, I absolutely, by the way, for y'all keeping track at home, I fucking hate the band Journey. Hate them.
They're easy to
So, here's my Journey song. Tain't fight this feeling anymore.
Yeah. Poor Journey. Let's see. Oh, well,
Yeah.
which one did I have? Well, Tainted Love is already a song.
Yeah, that is. That's
Yeah.
perfect.
Go ahead. Oh, I got Taint Me, Babe.
There you go. Oh, I like that one. I like this one by the Talking Heads. Taint Me to the River.
I see you're playing loose with the rules.
I am. Here's my other with paying loose. Tainting by the dock of the bay.
See, I mean, it's not even. This isn't even. It didn't even work anymore.
And taint scratch fever.
Well, I like the way that. I mean, I do like that.
Go ahead.
I had Taint Dominic's Preview.
Oh, I like that
Yeah,
one,
the
man.
Van Morrison
I
record.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah. You know.
But you're talking about the Stones. I got Taint Always Get What You Want.
See, but I thought it was supposed to be ain't. I thought the whole thing was supposed to be about ain't.
Well,
the
no,
word
ain't, can't,
Okay, yeah, all right.
cat.
Oh, here I look. I don't have the. I don't have the actual. I can't remember the song, but I have the lyric. Think 70s. Think 70s. Classic rock with a
just
bit of
started.
like with a brass in it. Okay,
Yeah.
ride a tainted pony let the spinning wheels.
Is that blood, sweat, and tears? Blood, sweat, and taint.
And then I went off reservation, and I started thinking about taints, and then I thought,
Oh, my
and I
God.
wrote, for some reason I wrote this down instead of just a gigolo, just a jiggle hole. Why is that on there?
I did this one. This is horrible. Dirty deeds done taint cheap.
Oh, that's so, come on, man. You're not even playing by the same rules as me. See, I got literally everyone on here has a legitimate, you change one letter.
Yeah.
They go
Taint,
from
taint buy me love.
taint
See, that was
by me,
good.
look.
But then I go further and I do bastardize the whole process by doing the BTO hit, Tainting Care of Business.
I mean, we could just do anything with that. I mean, well, you came up with this. You said taint talking about love. God, I love that.
I got another one.
Taint.
I got another one in the R&B world. Taint stop this love and feeling.
Okay, that's good. All right.
No, hold on, Dave. Do you not really respect what I'm doing here? I don't care. Just want to let you know, I don't really give a shit.
Oh, I thought you had a.
I take care of none.
Yeah, I knew it was coming. It was coming.
But what I said to all the girls, Taint get you out of my mind. There you
Can't get it out of my head.
And my furthest one that I ever went, the furthest I went with the most ridiculous thing would be Leonard Skinner singing their hit Taint Bird.
You and I are vastly different.
I don't need no stinking rules.
That's right.
I don't need no stinking rules.
Yeah, I don't play with your rules,
I don't need
man.
no stinking rules.
Taint me, babe. Taint me. It does make a difference where the comma is.
Oh, it does.
Taint me, babe, or taint me, babe. Taint me all night long.
So there you go.
Yes.
Taint. There we go. Snake taint coming to a county fair.
Shitty.
Near you, real quick.
Come to a shitty B grade, third rate
Oh
county.
no, we're coming to a pool hall. You ever heard of this guy named Hazel Atkins?
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you seen that video of Hazel where he's playing at a pool hall? Just Hazel with his guitar, right? Playing pool hall. He's there with some girl who gets mad at him and gets mad at some other girl and starts into a fight in this pool hall. Hazel never stops at one bit. He just keeps playing and singing. And there's this video of this girl punching this other girl, and they start fighting. But the best part is the way this video is set up. You can see the door to this place, sort of the back door to this place. And they hit each other, and they knock each other out and shoot them through the back door. The door closes. Hazel keeps on playing. Did you pour Jameson in that? Mm-mm. Okay. And so he keeps on playing, and it goes by like 10 minutes. All of a sudden, the door opens up. The girls walk in and start fighting again. Hazel never even stops. It's like a 30-minute video. It is absolutely freaking brilliant. Brilliant.
I hope they're fighting over him.
Oh, yeah, of course, man. Come on.
Although,
come on.
what kind of women would actually fight over
Hazel Atkins. Well, people. I mean, I couldn't tell up close.
What kind of groupies?
I couldn't tell up close, but I'm pretty sure.
What kind of groupies does Hazel Atkins?
I'm pretty sure they'd already thrown up their dentures outside before they came in anyway.
Yeah, I'll throw in a pot. Throw it in just a.
You ever do? I used to do stand up in a. Here you go. We're doing Ray Campero.
Ray Campero. Boy, that's a pretty that's a pretty measly little pour.
Oh,
Brian.
well, sorry about that.
Good Lord.
Good Lord.
There you go.
There you go.
Now
Here,
we're
you want the whole
talking.
bottle? Just take it. I don't give a shit. You know, I don't care.
Ooh.
How's that smell?
God.
Woo, dog it.
What do you think about that?
Man, that one
Salute.
is heavy. Ooh.
Way different. Wow.
Way different.
Way different.
Way more
Way
smoky.
different. I like that.
I do too.
I like that a lot.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
I'd try it again with this, but
Yeah, okay, all right.
that's God. Damn.
That is really good.
take
He kept telling me,
take it
Paul,
back.
and by the way, Paul at Austin Shake.
Austin
is the guy.
Shake.
Paul and
Shake
Brandon.
it, baby.
Paul and Brandon, Austin Shake, Oak Hill, Texas. Go hit it. Go hit it. They're the guys.
I just like the cut of this.
Cut of the jib. I like the cut of that jib.
I like the cut of his jib.
Yeah. All right, buddy. All right. Are we ready to get
Oh God,
something
yes.
going on?
I've been ready for this all my life.
Well, yeah, because you're the one that picked this band. And I was so into it as soon as you said it. And I like what you said that I meant to text you this, but then I was like, nah, I don't give a shit.
Yeah, fuck him.
It's like, Dave, fuck, man. I like what you said before when you said, and we should stick on all of this. We don't have many rules, obviously, other than don't say the word fuck. Come on. And unless you mean it.
Fuck that rule.
Yeah, okay. Is that when you asked last time, you said, when's the first time you heard that band? I think that's a great question every time.
I think it's a great question.
It's a great question.
I think it is too. All
Okay.
right.
When's the first time you heard LL, the Los Lobos?
Let's see. So it would have been. I know the road. I was in Paris, Tennessee. Don't let the Paris part of it fool you.
Were you eating a croissant?
This was like
Were you
the
ever
big
a-
town,
did
man.
you have a sandwich?
Paris is like the big town. This
Oh,
like,
really?
It had like 12,000 people.
Oh, my God,
It
really?
was 10 miles away from where we lived.
Oh, man.
That's where the high school was.
How many people was in Paris? You say
Like
10,000?
12,000.
Yeah.
And that was like the county seat.
Yeah. I went to high school. I went to Duncan for high school, and it was like 13,000.
Oklahoma?
I went and worked in the oil fields in Ratliff City, and they looked at me though. I said, you don't understand, you city boy.
Isn't that amazing?
And I was like, have you been to Duncan? Yeah, we have. You mean those big old skyscrapers over here? 2-story buildings? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, man, you motherfuckers, y'all damn hoity-toity. You think you
You got like indoor plumbing and
think you're so
everything.
goddamn smart. Look down on us over here,
Got you them
goddamn.
convenience stores because, we're out here to be inconvenient, but you
Yeah.
get convenient up in there. Go ahead.
Uh,
And you were in Paris. The Paris.
I remember it being
Paris,
a-
Tennessee.
it was a beautiful, shiny day, about like this, man. It's perfect weather. And, I had the radio playing. This would have been, or 80, somewhere right around there. And I don't know, man, I can't even imagine why why I would have heard this on any local radio
And
station.
by the way, I'm still blown away by you telling me what music you heard in Tennessee, because it sounds like you're in the middle of nowhere. And it's shocking to me that you were telling me about this. Not all the time, obviously, but still, you're hitting some cool music. It's really cool, man. It's amazing.
It's called desire. It's called like honestly, it's called wanting.
Yeah,
It's
just pulling
wanting
it- yeah.
something so badly
Yeah.
that you would. I mean, and what I wanted more than anything, and still do, is to hear great music.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
And so for some reason, but I remember exactly the road I was driving on up this road, the street in this Paris, and all of a sudden, like the radio.
A quaint little road, right?
Quaint. No. There's
Were there
not
any
quaint.
Sur-
There's
were there
not literally nothing quaint about any of it.
Surrey, horses drawn carriages or anything like that?
Paris. Yeah, well, it might have been. There actually
Okay.
might have been. I mean,
yeah.
but-
Throwing out croissants or sandwiches from Jack in the Box.
yeah, croissants. Yeah, well, literally, it would sometimes it rained croissants and scones.
And snails.
Eat the fucking
and
cake, you peasants.
And the escargot came down from above. Oh,
And
the butter.
all of a sudden on the radio, it was probably what had gone over was probably like a Journey song.
Yeah,
It probably was like,
Yeah.
when the lights go down in the city.
Stop it!
No, the stars stand on the
No
day.
Journey is allowed at Chacoper, Texas. No Journey. It's a no Journey zone.
I told you about putting rules on me, okay? It's a big
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah, I got one rule. Get the fuck out of here if you're going to do some Journey. And that's the end of podcast number 4.
Wow. Hey, that's 2 1/3 more episodes.
That was a
than I
good
thought
run.
we
It was a
would-
good run.
Way more than I thought we would accomplish. And all of a sudden on the radio came through the chill of winter. It was Will the Wolf Survive?
Really?
That's the first song I heard by Los Lobos, and it was like a burst of joy. And I pulled over. I actually pulled over just to
Wow.
stop and listen to that.
Wow.
And it was just, and I was like, that's exactly what I want to hear. That was exactly what I wanted to hear at that moment.
Man.
And how in the fuck did Los Lobos, East LA guys that were playing weddings like a year or two before, make it to goddamn Paris, Tennessee, to some starved imbecile like me who had been deprived of every kind of goodness? Well, by God, it made it.
Okay. Well, I tell you, the first time I heard him, it was in college. It would have been like 82, 83, right? Something like that. 81, 82, 83. I can't remember which.
Yeah, after I heard him.
Yeah. Exactly.
I made damn sure of that when I time-stamped this motherfucker. Brian's going to say 82. I'll go for 80.
Yeah, I go for 64. And but I used to watch this thing on MTV because this is in Stillwater, Oklahoma. We had like a really cool local radio, college radio station, all this sort of stuff, and they played great stuff. But on MTV, they had a show called Cutting Edge, and Peter Zamora from the Fleshtones did it. I've told this to you. And they goes, okay, this time, and I would watch it to get all these, and I would find out about like Hoodoo Gurus, and find a bunch of bands that, even though I had a pretty good pipeline. I'll tell you later on about this pipeline through this music store, but they were on there, and he comes on, hey, in this episode we're going to come from Los Angeles. I was like, all right, I'm going to get all sorts of punk music, right? And he goes, and on this episode we're going to be bringing you two of the hottest new bands coming out here. It's Dwight Yoakam and Los Lobos. And I was like, who the fuck are these guys? Right? It's like, and they showed them, right? I'm like, what? And they started playing them, and that's the first time I'd ever heard Los Lobos. And it was on their first EP that put out called And a Time to Dance. And they started playing it, and I was like, what in the hell is this? I go, this is unbelievable. I mean, and then to have Dwight Yoakam with guitars and Cadillacs in the same episode, it was just like, for me, country and western music from being a little town of Duncan, Oklahoma was bullshit, right? Because it was always that kind of crap country.
How big was that city?
It was around 13,000. Big city. I told you, man. We had convenience stores, man. We had convenience stores. We lived large.
City slicker.
But but the thing is, like, it was like that kind of Chet Atkins country, where it wasn't really edgy at all, right? It wasn't Billy Joe
Countrypolitan.
It wasn't Billy. Yeah, it wasn't Billy Joe Shaver who died this week. And I'm so bummed out because I love that freaking guy. And let me tell you, the best Billy Joe Shaver. I'll get back. I'm going to digress just a second though. But Billy Joe, my coolest thing about Billy Joe is I saw him at the Texas Book Festival, and backstage I could see him backstage, and he and Robert Duvall were hanging out talking with each other. And I just thought, you know what? Whatever's right in this world is right now. Those two guys are hanging out there, right?
Here's the Billy Joe.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Billy Joe.
Billy
Goddamn,
Joe.
what
a character! What a character!
I mean, he's like what all the other cosmic cowboys kind of wanted to be, I think.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh no, the first time he got to Nashville, he drove his motorcycle up to was it Howard Harlan, who was a big songwriter, rode his motorcycle up onto his steps of his house, and he goes, I'm going to be the biggest goddamn songwriter in the world. And this Howard Harlan, whatever his name was, like going Harlan Howard. Harlan Howard's like, get the fuck off my porch.
The thing is, like, Waylon did that whole album of his songs.
10 of his songs were on that.
But the thing is, like, he had told Billy Joe, said, I want to do some of your songs, and
then left him.
And then Billy Joe shows up and says, like, look, I'm not used to this drunk talk. If you say you're going to do it, and he threatened to whip his ass. Who knows?
Yeah.
But anyway,
he did.
Right.
And Waylon was like, "What the?" And Waylon was blowing him off. So
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I tried to keep you on track about all this.
He tracked him down, man. He tracked him down. No, keep him on track. Good luck. But I'm back. I'm
back on track.
So I saw Los Lobos on that, and it blew my mind. And I went down the next day, down to, like, say, they're in school, there was some record store that was like a chain record store, but all these cool kids worked at it, and so they got all this stuff. And so I was like, hey man, I want to get this band Los Lobos. And the guy goes, oh yeah, I've got one copy right here. And I was like, it was on Slash Records. We all fucking love Slash because of X and Gun Club and all this. And two things I got that day. I got the Los Lobos album, and then I got a Slash sampler that had X, Los Lobos, Gun Club, Flesh Eaters, all this sort of stuff on it and everything. But that's the first time I heard them, and it blew my mind.
What song?
It was their first song on that album, and A Time to Dance is the name of the song, I'm pretty sure. He goes, I don't know, whatever it is. But I'm terrible with names of songs, to be honest with you. I'm like, it's the first song on the first side.
Can't get no satisfaction. Got that one down.
I got it down in a heartbeat. But it blew my mind. When I heard that, it was like they took this, this mariachi, which, here in Texas, very, very heavy Mexican and German influence of, accordion and everything, took that, but they took into it this bluesy sort of deal, which I'd never heard that stuff in that fashion. And it blew my mind to hear it. And then on top of that, and we'll just go fast forward, hear who they are, who they became, is unbelievable.
Well, I mean, the thing you're bringing up is like they were part of that scene. They were part of that. They were part of that scene
whole
that
punk
spawned
scene.
X. Dwight Yoakam was
Blasters.
out there.
Blasters.
Lone Justice.
Yeah.
Weren't they around? The Blasters.
Yeah.
So there was obviously this ferment thing happening.
Well, it's funny because X, at the end of the day, they were like, to me, more of kind of a country-ish kind of. It was a rock band, but it was a country-ish bend to it. And you're right, there was all that stuff. I mean, you had the punk, you had Germs, and and all that sort of stuff there and everything, which is great. But you had this sort of roots vibe going on there that was really, really cool.
I was going to send you this.
But you didn't.
Well,
But
because
you didn't.
I thought it was kind of they were interviewed. There was a video of them being interviewed by Jim and Jim Cotton. The Sound Opinion guys. You know those guys.
No, I don't know who they are.
Really?
Why would I lie about that? Why, of all the things for me to pick to lie about,
That's a good
I'd
question.
lie about a lot of other stuff here, but not that.
Well, anyway,
I know. No, I'm sorry.
They have a
Oh, yeah, I
podcast.
know them. They're good. They're really good. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. I remember those guys. I love them.
Anyway, so
I'm the bane of Dave's existence.
the Bane.
The bane. I'm the taint of Dave's existence.
Kurt. Yeah, remember that band by Kurt Cobain?
Oh, shit. I was spitting up.
Now, that's how far afield you roamed on this, okay? I just want to point that out.
Kurt Cobain. That is fantastic.
Oh, God.
I did take a lot of liberties, and I deserve hearing that one.
Caught you in mid-swallow. What were we even talking about now?
I don't even know. I think we're talking about all these bands that came out, this Americana sort of feel that came out of that sort of stuff. Because the what's weird is that besides Kurt Cobain being influenced by all this stuff,
Which he wasn't.
which he wasn't.
Which he wasn't.
Yeah, it wasn't. But although in Meat Puppets, but the way that the Los Lobos, and by the way, I've always heard that anybody who lives in East LA, back during that time frame, they said that everybody has a story about being at a party that Los Lobos played, like a wedding or quinceanera or something like that. And they said that every time that you think you have anybody there tells a story of like, oh, I was there when it was like only like 100 people. They said inevitably somebody comes back and go, oh, I was there when there was like 10 people. Like everybody has a story of them.
I know.
First on.
Oh, here it was. So they were being interviewed by these Jim Cotton.
Oh,
Greg,
yeah.
Greg,
Sorry, I'm kind of drunk right now.
These guys. The
God
guys that have
damn
the
it.
Sound
I've already
Opinion.
told you I don't fucking know who
used
they
to have
are.
a show on NPR.
I don't know.
Anyway, so they did an interview with them.
Why is it important that I know who they are?
It doesn't matter.
I know it doesn't matter. I told you that.
I just like to continue, please.
Taint of Dave's existence.
So anyway, what? And they were talking about, evidently what gave them a big break was that they wound up opening up a show for public.
A PIL. Yeah.
And they were getting like.
Oh, God. Yeah. They said when people yelled at them, they said they could feel the force of people yelling, "We hate you." They could feel that force.
And what's his name? The bass player. No, wait.
Conrad
Was saying like that they were throwing quarters. He said, I think they were trying to like get it through the actual hole of the.
Yeah.
But he said, but somehow that show, as disastrous
solidified them.
as it was, somehow made them.
Yeah.
That's seminal in their development.
They
for
said that
some reason.
they knew that even though everybody's yelling at them, they said they knew they were on the right path. I don't know how they knew that, but they said we knew they were on the right path. Can you imagine? I mean, now to me, a dream ticket would be Los Lobos opening up for PIL. I'd freak out, but at that time, and it was like, fuck, man, because how they got kind of discovered, or I shouldn't say discovered, got into that world is somehow. I think I've told you this. They heard about the Blasters. They heard the Blasters maybe, and they went to a show to see the Blasters, and they were walking out afterwards, and the Blasters were kind of walking out with them, and they were kind of sheepishly kind of like, hey, we really like you guys, and they gave them a tape they had made. And the Blasters were driving back to Downey, right? And Downey and East LA, they're both like, even though LA, it's like really far from LA. And the Blasters heard it and freaked out and just flipped out and just said, we got to have you guys play with this. And which eventually led them to opening up for them at the Whiskey A Go-Go the first time they opened up. And he said they came out and played and people were like, what the hell? And Berlin, who was in the Blasters, the saxophone player, he said he heard them and he was like, how are we going to follow that stuff? How are we going to do this? And he finally went over. He said he played in both of them for a while. But I remember he finally said, he goes, I love going to the Los Lobos. He goes, because they actually got along and talked with each other and everything. He goes, as opposed to the Blasters who were into literally fist fighting each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he was like, I didn't know. I didn't know you could be in a band and it'd be so smooth and easy and fine and fun.
That was part of this interview. He was
really?
on there, and he said they would get in a fight. He said Phil and Dave would get in a fight about the weather.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And he said, when I got in Los Lobos,
there's a bee right in front of Dave.
That's all right. I'm good with bees.
I like you there. I like that, man. I'm the same way.
Yeah, and so he said, that he realized
he is really all over you.
He's on that left ear, right? So he was, he said he could tell that they were, they were ready to
Man.
He felt that they were more expansive, that their palate, which I think.
Well,
the thing is about Los Lobos is that I can't think of anybody. Beck is almost the only other example that I can think of.
And he's East LA too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is the only other example of somebody who I literally can't. There's not a bad Los Lobos record. There's not one.
No.
It does not exist.
No.
It does not exist.
There is not one that you kind of go, oh, well, that was a slump for.
They didn't go through. They didn't continuously. They went through.
No,
they peaked at Kiko. I mean, you got to just give it like Kiko's.
Yeah.
Kiko's a Sergeant Pepper kind of.
Well, that's when they got into this crazy jazzy. And I don't mean, when I say jazz, usually I'm kind of like,
that means more than 3 chords.
Yeah. But they got into this weird jazzy stuff that just worked so well. But you're right, because those guys are explorers.
Right.
Because they started, and did you watch that thing that I sent you?
I did.
Yeah, where they started
with
Frank, yeah. And I read a book on him a couple years ago where those guys were all, because I went to like a high school, and I think I wrote it down here what high school they were at. Garfield High School.
Yeah.
Garfield High School. I wrote that down. And that they weren't all the same year. They were in different years. I mean,
it turns out Cesar says he actually started the band.
Well, what it was is that, from what I read, is that this Frank guy, like all of them were in different rock and roll bands before this. They were all playing rock and roll music. And then this Frank guy saw, I think, David or Cesar walking down the street, and he was playing some of these Mexican instruments that were really cheap at that time, acoustic instruments, different guitars and all this stuff. And I think either Cesar or Hidalgo came up to him, started doing it, and they started getting all those other guys in there because they go, okay. And they bought all those instruments because they said they were cheap as hell. Nobody cared about them or anything. And I think maybe Cesar or either David's the only one that actually spoke Spanish. Like a couple of them didn't speak. They were second generation. They didn't speak Spanish. Right. And they heard that and flipped out on it. And that's when they started doing this, going back to the songs that their parents had talked about and everything. And this Frank was in it, and they started getting along and doing stuff. And then Frank apparently was a real alcoholic. and they eventually had to boot Frank out. And once they booted him out, and by the way, apparently they have all gotten together since then. It's all cool.
Frank's still.
He's still around. He's not an alcoholic anymore. He's still around. But once they got him out, they just went to town because they just started expanding their palette.
You know, you just said something here that's like, so Frank or somebody saw somebody with some records that looked interesting to them. You know, like somebody saw. So evidently, you know, Keith Richards saw Mick Jagger
at a train station
and didn't like Lennon, McCartney. Wasn't there something like one of them saw like?
Yeah.
You know, so here, I mean, you know, this is a thing. It's like it's not going to happen.
It's out
it doesn't
there.
happen now.
No,
like
no.
you know, because nobody's walking around with records. But like this is a theme. I didn't realize this that they were.
There's something out there in the air. There's something out there in the air because, like a lot of songwriters say, they go, "Oh, how'd you write that great song?" They go, "Hey, I don't. It was there. I just was the person that could pull all the stuff that was floating."
But
out there
I want to talk
into it.
about Kiko because.
Well, let's. I don't usually progress along, but I kind of want to progress along to a certain degree.
All right.
Well,
it's your damn place. It's your equipment. I guess you get to make all the fucking rules. Whatever, Brian.
Whatever rules.
I don't want to do. I don't want to be. You know, I don't want to boss you around, but. Please go ahead.
No, Dave, it's okay. Just go ahead and gloss over their whole fucking output of records up to Kiko.
Yeah, they were all great.
I know you said there wasn't a bad one, but I'm just going to talk right about Kiko. I'm going to go Kiko.
Look, man, I'm a little on edge.
What are you on edge for?
I'm not at all.
What are you on edge for? Jesus Christ. You can go pee anywhere you want to my whole fucking 5 acres. It's like the world is your oyster to whiz on.
You're right, Brian. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
And that's all I live for is being right.
You know. Yes.
Is it,
The neighborhood
are we having
by
a
the
tiff?
light of the
Are we having
moon.
a tiff?
What?
Are we having a tiff here? Is this a problem?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
We got a big problem.
Okay. I'm done. I'm out of here. This is bullshit.
You're away. You live here.
I'm taking my recording equipment going home.
You're going in the house. No, I think you're right. You know, you're right.
No. I just want to say because
You're right.
A Time to Dance was awesome, but then they got into When the Wolf Will Survive, and T-Bone Burnett.
Love that.
T-Bone played a big role in their development. You know, because
See, I didn't know that.
he played a big role in their development because, and I've told you about T-Bone, with Donna and everything like that and everything. And, but he's been out there in LA for, right after I think T-Bone had the Alpha Band. Was that he and Mankiewicz had the Alpha Band, and he went out to LA and he's been busting his ass forever. And he somehow got with those guys and he pushed them along. We got Will the Wolf Survive. They recorded it and he told them, he goes, guys, this is great, but there's still one more song. There needs to be one more song. And they were like, what are you talking about, one more song? This is good enough as it is. He goes, no, there's got to be one more. I just feel there's one more song. And like Hidalgo left and they left like, whatever, man. And Hidalgo left and that night went back and wrote How Will the Wolf Survive? And came back, and then T-Bone goes, that's it. That's the song I was looking for. That's what I was looking for.
I think that's a perfect song.
Oh, my God. I got to let my dog in. I agree with you. Especially the fact they're called Los Lobos.
And here's why that's a perfect song. It's got it's into three parts. So like anybody into comedy or, at movies, plays are all like split up into these trees.
Yeah. It's all threes.
There's three. It starts out with like drifting by the roadside. Well, there's the first off. It's about
those
wolf.
those guitars playing off the bat. Those like I guess.
Yeah, but I'm talking about lyrically.
Oh yeah.
The story.
Oh yeah.
Is that first? It's about a wolf. Like it's about an actual wolf.
Yeah.
running across the frozen land trying to, survive. Then it's about like a guy who's standing by the roadside, stands a strong and
Yeah.
aging face, got to make some honest pay. So that's about an immigrant laborer.
Oh, yeah.
It's basically what that's about.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And then the third verse is about come stand. It's about them. It's about the battered drums and old guitars, songs across your nation. I mean, like they go from like nature to them in
Oh, yeah.
three. It's a perfect.
No,
it's like a Creedence Clearwater Revival. It couldn't be tighter. It couldn't be the guitar. The solo
no fat,
is perfect.
no fat.
Yeah,
just,
it's a perfect. That's the first song I heard by them. I thought it's perfection. I still think it's perfection.
Oh, yeah.
It's a slice of divinity.
No, I mean, and it's so cool. And I've said this to you before.
Divinity.
I think that, and you're not that. I'll convince you, Wilco, but I think Wilco and Los Lobos are the greatest American bands. I know you're not a big Wilco fan, but I think Los Lobos is one of the greatest American bands. Because what's cool is that when you think about it, these Hispanic dudes came into this punk world, and there were no other punk bands at that time. They were Hispanic. I think the Zeros were the only ones, and they weren't that big. The Zeros were, I think Alejandro's brother Javier was in the Zeros, and Robert Lopez. You know who he is?
No.
You ever heard of Elvez?
Yes.
That's Elvez. He was in the Zeros. Yeah.
Oh boy, this
Yeah.
opens up a big can of worms.
Oh yeah, Elvez, because they were like the original kind of like they were at the same time as Los Lobos, but they were way more punk. Here we go.
Look, man.
Way more punk.
Elvez.
Elvez is amazing.
big deal
Yeah.
to me.
The first time I saw Elvez,
What's his name? Robert
Lopez is his
and
name.
wait, he's related to. I always heard he was kin. Is he kin to Alejandro?
No. That's the in the Zeros. Javier, who's Alejandro's brother, was in the Zeros, and Robert Lopez were in the Zeros.
Okay.
And the first time I ever saw Elvez, my friend Chris at Swearingen and I were in Dallas down at Trees or someplace. And I remember he came out, and I remember it was so awesome. The whole band is just like cholos. They got like bandanas on, the whole thing, khakis, the shirts, the plaid shirts. And then he has these two girls dancing back up, and for their bras were little sombreros for their bras. And he goes, I want to introduce you to Lisa Maria and Prisalita.
Yes.
And so, man, I mean, and then whenever Don and I lived in L.A., we saw him do this wedding thing one time in this whole white outfit, do this wedding deal at this crazy store. And then the last time I saw him was about 3 years ago at South Austin Brewing. He came out, and now he does this. He does like a music review, a punk rock music review, and he comes out because he's like our age. He comes out, he's kicking and jumping around. It was fucking amazing, man. I mean, Elvez to me is like hands down one of the greatest guys. But
the first time I saw Elvez was like at a South by Southwest, probably 1992 or something, and I think. Anyway, I saw him at Schultz Garden, and I mean, I was just used to go and see like, unpretentious bands play great music, in Austin. Nobody was putting on it was just people just with great guitar players killing it and just,
yeah.
But like this guy put on a show.
Oh, yeah, totally.
And I'd never seen anything like it. And he went from, he did in the ghetto.
Oh, in the barrio.
And he had like at the end of the show, God, he had those. He had like they did Jesus Christ Superstar.
Oh,
and
yeah.
They ripped the suit, like the jumpsuit off of him, and they take him off like he's on a cross. I mean, it was the whole thing was like, he would like take a condom package in his teeth and like bend over, and like a woman would like take it.
Oh, that is like Elvis.
He was
That is
real like
Elvis.
sex. He was real
Oh, yeah,
sexy,
man.
and like I remember I told I had this girlfriend. She's like, I don't know if this is gonna be, and like she was like, oh my god, I so want to fuck this guy. And like we bought a T-shirt, and like he rubbed his sweat with it, and gave it to her, and kissed her, bent her. I mean, it was just like the guy was total sex.
I know. Oh, man. And that's what I'm saying. This is so cool because you got, Zeros, Javier, Alejandro, and then Los Lobos.
Yeah, and Dwight Yoakam.
And Dwight Yoakam. So, I mean, so the deal is what I love, and I'm not really much of a linear guy, but I will do they did La Bamba, which is great. But even they kind of go, what I love about them is they go, wait, that's pigeonholing us.
That was a problem for them.
Yeah, they were like, it's pigeonholing us. And so I love, and we'll get to Kiko right after this, but I love how they came out right after that and they said,
You're right.
we're not doing what you want. We're doing a Spanish record album.
Amen.
And it was like, and I think they were on, because they were on Slash. I know now it's on me, man. He's on me now. He's our biggest fan. He's our only fan.
Love him. Give him a T-shirt.
Yeah, no kidding.
A tiny little bit.
tiny little T-shirt. It's size B.
No, you're right.
But
he's right there.
oh my God, I'm worried about it.
Don't touch yourself.
Yeah, okay.
I know it's hard for you,
know.
but just don't fucking do it.
No, I meant your shoulder, Brian. No, don't touch your
Zucchini butt.
Don't touch your shoulder. Don't touch your shoulder. Keep it R-rated. Come on. But they came out and did that. They're like, because it was on Warner Brothers Slash, and they were all pissed off at him. Like, what are you doing? And they're like, look, man, we want to do this kind of music. This is what we want to do. And you got to love these guys that are just like, because you know how many people, and I would love to tell you that if it was me, that I'd be going, oh, I'd do that. I don't know. I might be kind of going, what do y'all want? But those guys were like, forget it, man.
Well, here's the thing about them. The reason I didn't send you that, interview I talked about because
you're lazy.
Those guys are just the worst at being interviewed.
Oh, really?
Nobody's got anything to say. David Hidalgo has
I know what you mean. I've seen some people like that where you love them, their product, but you see them. Here's a weird side note. And for the by the way, we're taping this now so you can see it. But if you can't see it, Dave just laid back like he gave a flying fuck about what I got to say, which means I'm going to go into grand detail.
It won't
at
stop
this point
him.
right
it
now.
will not.
No,
I actually did this to encourage
he
you.
did. Yeah. Okay. On a different note of like what you shouldn't be doing, Black Flag, Greg Ginn, his brother's Raymond Pettibone, who's a great illustrator, cartoonist. Every Black Flag cover is done by his brother. That's his brother, Raymond Pettibone, did every Black Flag cover, right? Raymond Pettibone, when I lived in L.A., had a retrospective at the L.A. County Museum. Go down there, all this killer, everything you ever saw from SST Records is all done by Raymond Pettibone. And let me okay, Dave. Come on, Dave. Come on, you're way back with me. So it's everything done, right? They decided to have Raymond Pettibone at this thing give a talk after his retrospective, right? Raymond Pettibone should never talk in front of anybody. He gets up there, and there's all these people here like me, all these SST fans, Minutemen fans, Black Flag fans, Agent Orange, all this shit, right? Sitting there like waiting for Raymond Pettibone to come up and talk. Raymond comes up, and he's got like a coat on and a white shirt. He's got khaki pants, right? Raymond starts talking, and literally he's talking like this right here. He has his hands in his pockets. And he starts talking about his art. He goes, my art, I do this drawing, and I just draw. I do these
Well, it's sort of like that.
These drawings. Okay. I bet they don't get worse than this, though. So he goes, I just do these drawings. And his hands keep going down his pants, right? Keep moving around. And so I'm just doing these drawings and this, and then his hands keep going down his pants, right? Keep going there. And the next thing you know, I look up and a little stain comes on his fucking khaki pants. Exactly. Stain comes in there. He's been masturbating during this thing, right? Shoots a load. And I'm sitting there watching this. I'm going, did he really just in his pants. And I'm thinking, Dave, I'm thinking I'm wrong. Right? This mother and daughter in front of me turn and look at each other and go, and they turn their heads, they go, oh my God. And I knew at that point, yeah, I wasn't wrong. So were they that bad?
It wasn't that bad. Actually, wow. Thanks for that. Thanks for providing the perfect perspective. It really wasn't that bad after all.
Yeah, really. Come on, Dave. Come on, man. You want bad, I got bad. Bring it on, Dave. Bring it on. Bring it on, bitch. And by the way, props to you for wearing my Scorpion Ranch hat.
Sucking up wherever I can.
There we go. Scorpion Ranch hats.
I found
Come
this.
and get them.
Yeah, I found this going through some...
What, going through your fucking garbage?
Yeah, actually.
Probably about right.
I was dumpster diving.
Probably about right. Dave is going to take a small break here from everything.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna be so far away that I can't hear.
Oh no,
you're
he can
saying.
hear. No. I can whisper. He won't hear any of this stuff. Dave is going to go right now and hey, no, not right there, not right there. I can see that. Go behind the tree. Come on.
Now you're squeamish.
Yeah. Okay, Dave is going out here to utilize my 5 acres of my place here at Chicobra, Texas, and but just to let you know what Dave is talking about here, Dave. I wish the camera. Well, I'm glad the camera wasn't just showing Dave hit me his moon glow, as we call it in the business. And that business, I'm in the fluffing business, and so moon glow is what we call in the fluffing business. You know what I think the worst job would be? Would be as the manager of a glory hole place. I think it'd be the worst job because people would bitch to you about being in a glory hole. You're like, fuck you, get another fucking job. What do I care?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be.
I think a lot about these sorts of things. What's the worst job? Not working a glory hole, being the manager of people working a glory hole. Is that just me?
Yeah, that is just you. That's just you. I mean, I never thought of that.
Okay, we're gonna get back here. We've done How the Wolf Survived. We've gone into the Spanish one, but one thing I want to do before we get to Kiko, is I want to get to one thing that I absolutely love, which is an offshoot, which are the Latin Playboys.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what I knew about everything was going on, and then I heard that David Hidalgo did a Latin Playboy because I guess.
But that's the logical extension of the
Totally
Kiko colossal head.
Yeah, because what happened is that apparently when he had kids, he wanted to do some music, but his wife was like, "Hey, you're being too loud," so he just purposely made it quiet in the kitchen. I think he did this in the kitchen, and he made these albums in the kitchen. And he had Mitchell Froome, I think, was kind of helping him with it, and I think. And by the way, let's say who everybody is in the band, by the way. We haven't said this. You got Dave Hidalgo, Cesar Rosa, Louis Perez, Conrad Lozano. And if I'm not wrong, they're one of the few bands that all the original members are still part of it. They've added, it's either David's or Cesar's son on drums.
Well, the original drummers, I think, still.
No, the original drummer was Louis Perez.
Louis, yeah, but now he's like, right.
Now he's playing guitar. So I'm just saying, like, I think the only ones that are the original, one of the few bands like Rolling Stones, almost, who like even the bass player
without
Wyman,
drama.
Yeah.
You know,
No, there's no drama with these guys. I mean, everything they've done, they're just like really great guys. But the whole point is, the Latin Playboys, those two albums to me, I could play over and over and over and over and over. I just think those are amazing. They have this really wild. It almost sounds like music.
But that's not all of them, is it?
No. It's pretty much.
It's
pretty much Hidalgo. I think Louis and Cesar, like, they come do a little bit here and there.
I think I hear Cesar singing on that.
Yeah, it's pretty much David. But I love it. It's like, I can only imagine if I was driving in the 1950s through Mexico that would be the music I would hear as I was tuning to an AM
Yeah,
radio.
yeah. If you were just scrolling through stations,
Yeah.
you would hear this weird. I mean,
Yeah.
it sounds very.
Yeah.
Because I remember being in
'Cause you've been to
some.
Mexico a lot more.
Yeah, and I remember being in some, little town when like the band, it'd be just a bunch of kids or what, just the regular people would be playing instruments and live, but it would be it would be like clarinets and stuff. They would, so they captured that. So, I mean, the thing about them is they just sort of capture this both sides. And they do it with a, kind of a creative brilliance about them that just doesn't allow them to, like, settle, something.
That's a good word you say. I've never felt those guys have settled.
Yeah.
Everything they've done, and I got to the rest of my mouth. So,
Right. So everything they've done, they didn't settle.
they didn't settle.
They did not settle on anything. And see, I always thought it was maybe. I always kind of thought David Hidalgo was sort of the leader of that group.
I think it kind of goes back and forth between Dave and Cesar.
Well, Cesar said he started it. And so he's actually said that on this interview that I didn't send you, by the way, because I didn't think it was valuable, but now then I keep referring to it. So,
Oh, yeah. Keep that in your back pocket.
but Cesar said during this interview, he's like, "Yeah, I actually started the band," and nobody contradicted him. They were all just sort of sitting there like that he was, But those things are always complicated like that, like who actually started the band. But they were like they were making money, like just doing weddings and quinceaneras and all these things. And so he said that they took a big pay cut. Like, they would go from making like $1,500 a gig to like $75 when they started
Like play Club Lingerie or some shit like that.
doing their own thing. Or like what's Lazzaro's or, like there were these clubs, I don't know, LA like you do. You're the LA maven.
They would play the Moss,
The whiskey and all that. Yeah. And so they were doing really well, just being a local kind of wedding band, local quinceanera, the celebration for like the 15th birthday of a Latina woman. And they were doing all these things, and they were making good money. And then they decided to do their own thing, and all of a sudden they started just like, took a big pay cut.
Oh, yeah.
Because, Cesar said, like one thing they said is like, well, in the quinceaneras, they would feed us.
Man, that's a big thing,
Yeah.
man. That's huge.
I mean, if you get fed at and I will say, like Los Lobos actually sort of opened up the whole like world to Mexico for me in a way.
Oh, yeah. Because
like-
it was already there. It was always there.
Right.
But you're like me. It's like
Well, God, I hope not.
What? I hope not either. Oh my God. But it did for me. I went backwards, right? Because once I heard that, I got off into there's a Chris Arhuli Records, Chris Stravites started Huli Records, and he went down to Mexico and recorded a bunch of. He did it in America, like Mexican American bands, and because of Los Lobos, I found about Arhuli Records and a lot of these Latino bands that I would have never known of or anything at all. Like Donna, my wife, she knows all that stuff because, her dad used to take them to Mexico all the time. They'd see all this crazy stuff. But I'm like you, it did open me up. It's funny you say that. It felt like when I heard them the first time, I was so punk rock until that point. And then as soon as I heard that, it did open me up to like, oh, wait a minute, there's this good music all over the place. And it really did open my mind because I told you at the same time was Dwight Yoakam. So I'm like, all this country that I thought was country was bullshit, and and I didn't really know any of this Latino music, and it was like it opened my eyes up, or more importantly, my ears to all this great fucking music.
Well, and also Los Lobos was putting all kinds of things together,
Oh
like they
yeah,
were like drawing actually also from Zydeco and Cajun
oh
music,
yeah, oh
because
yeah,
that like on that album is the album Will the Wolf Survive? Is that the name of the record?
yeah.
And so they do
Oh,
Evangeline
that's total
is on
Cajun.
her own.
Oh yeah,
But they make it like
theirs.
it's.
Yeah.
I mean, it was I mean, like really, the whole thing about like popular music, especially like rock and roll and all this, it's a synthesis. It's just this idea nowadays where it's like, oh, somebody stole this idea from somebody. No, this kind of music is just morphs.
It's out there. It's
you know,
out there.
it's like you've got like a band in East LA who's like doing quinceañeras, and they're doing for like their mothers.
Oh yeah.
And they're drawing from South Louisiana,
Oh
and they're
yeah.
making this whole thing. This, I mean, like I don't like this Americana thing, but if there is Americana, they're it.
Oh no, they
They're
are
about
it.
as it
No,
as that gets.
I agree.
Mexicana, Americana.
No,
They're
no, those guys are,
fucking love Los Lobos. Can I just say it?
yeah,
Te amo Los Lobos.
I'll tell you my two, and we'll get to Kiko, but I'll tell you my two favorite Los Lobos stories is that I told you this one that when I lived in L.A., this girl said, "Hey, I got tickets," and this is Good Morning Aztlan, right? That album. Aslan. Okay, sorry. Oh, excuse me, sorry. So she goes, "Hey, I got tickets to this thing they're doing in East LA," and she goes, "But you can't call on the number. Here's the number, but I'll call in and do your reservation." And so I got it, but she's kind of flaky, so I called to the number anyway and said Brian Fuller and all this kind of crap. And we got over there, and it was like where they were from was in a really bad part of East LA, and there was valet parking. But we got there, and just we got there, the car in front of us like we're filled up. So you have to look for this area, like, oh shit, I don't know. Turn the corner, somebody's backing up, so we get right in there. But I walk up there, and I was like, yeah, and I said her name. They go, yeah, we don't nothing with her. And I was like, fuck, I can't believe her. I go, well, you got Brian Fuller? They go, yeah, we got you. Come on in. And we're like, okay. So we go in there, and we told you this. Is like, it was in this little warehouse. It was hot as shit. They were like all the beers were warm beers and everything, but they played Good Morning Aslan. But this was right after Cesar's wife had been killed by her cousin that she'd try to help out. And so they got up there, and it was this really cathartic kind of, and Don and I felt like we were two welcome outsiders into this thing because everybody there was Hispanic, and they were up there, and like kids were up on stage and dancing with them as they played this music. And it was a record release party, but it felt like you're in somebody's backyard hanging out. And it was amazing because it was just, it was the closest I would have ever gotten to have seen them at some quinceanera or something like that. And Don and I left that night, and we drove home. We both looked at each other like going, whenever we leave, and we were only out in L.A. for like 6 years. We looked at each other and go, this is one of the greatest nights.
Yeah.
I mean, just get to do that.
That sounds special.
It was so amazing. But let me, real quick, because you saw Los Lobos at Green Hall.
Yeah.
You've seen them. Well, I told you, the one that I love is when we saw them, they came entering from Green Hall. If y'all don't know about Green Hall is one of the coolest old dance halls in Texas. They came walking in from the back, they get ready, and they had a state trooper in front of them and one in the back, and they're walking in like boxers walk into a ring, and they come walking in to the front stage, and they come walking right past Don and I have a beer in my hand, and everybody's like, yeah, you're coming in. And I remember Hidalgo went and like clinked my beer. He goes, let's rock, and walked by, and I looked at Donna and I go, I will never wash this beer bottle again.
I can die now.
I mean, it was truly one of the greatest moments of my life.
Oh, yeah.
It was like, and they walk up there and just rocked. And it was down in Green Hall. They're close in San Antonio, so it was a very different show than they did at Austin City Limits. It was real Hispanic. I mean, it was, wow, you saw those shows. That was amazing.
The last two shows I've seen them at, I saw that one. I saw a Green Hall show, and it's Old Settlers.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And in both of them, I realized no. Oh, wait, and then I saw them in New Orleans.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, and that was I think that was the best I ever saw.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing: any band playing, they were playing at a thing called the Blues and Brews. No, wrong. It was like a blues,
not the jazz
barbecue kind of. It wasn't Jazz Fest.
Yeah.
It was like a barbecue and music festival in New Orleans.
Yeah.
And I mean, they just fucking killed it. And then I've seen them. They have this new. They have a touring drummer. The Bugs.
Yeah.
Enrique Gonzalez, I think is his name.
Yeah.
And I mean, I can see that guy brought a new, kind of energy to him. But every time I've seen them lately, they've been rocking like crazy.
Well, a good drummer brings, makes a band great.
I mean, that band is such a. Well, I mean, just think about 40 years of.
Hey, what was that thing you said you were going to buy? You wrote me, you texted me something. You said, I think about buying.
The American Epic Sessions.
Yeah. I watched part of that. That is awesome, man.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's right.
Here we go. A little toast. Okay.
And then we get to
Kiko. Dave has been annoyed by me all day long up until this point right here.
All day long?
Oh, well.
I was annoyed.
Maybe a bit further than that.
I've been annoyed by you even, before I met you. I sort of had this, God damn it, something's really bothering me.
This guy looks like he really bugged the shit out of me.
Then I met him, I'm like, oh, that's what's been bugging me for
I was right.
40 years.
I was right.
I was going to meet this.
He can't bug the shit out of me. I was so right. Okay, let's get to Kiko, which I think Kiko, they took a bend on something that just blew my mind. Now, I'm going to guess when Kiko first came out, it probably wasn't that big of a, I'm going to guess it wasn't that big of a deal because it was so off the beat. I'm going to guess it's probably gotten bigger over the years because when it came up to me, because what Kiko and the Lavender Moon, I heard that and I was like, I'm not even a jazz guy. And this shit is into some realm that is just so cool, man.
Well, I mean, I was living here by the time that came out. And so, local radios, like the local radio station KGSR, which is now K Geezer.
Yeah, it is.
If it still exists, I don't even know.
It's still around, but I used to listen. But
they got into that. I mean, here,
and probably KUT got into it also.
Yeah, I mean, so. But you're right. It's one of those kind of records that it
wasn't Will the Wolf Survive? It went further than that.
Well, yeah, and it was like this. I guess the one before that was The Neighborhood.
Yeah, that was a great one.
Which is a great record.
Yeah.
I mean, it has this song called Emily on it.
Oh, yeah.
Which has a guitar solo that's just, I mean.
Oh, and by the way, Cesar had a solo record, Hound Dog, I think, that's a really good record.
Oh, yeah.
I'd like to say that.
But I mean, the whole thing about Kiko, it's like a fully realized self-referential artistic statement. Everything about it, from the cover art.
Oh, I was about to say that. The cover art is
Is this
so
Robert
cool.
Pettibone?
No.
Are we gonna have to go through another
masturbation story?
Can I please just talk about the green chair?
I think this whole podcast is a masturbation story.
Well, I mean, I haven't yet, but I guess I'm going to get on board here in a second.
I'll
if
turn the
it's just,
video camera off for a while.
No, I'm good with cameras. I just need a
I
fluffer.
love that. I'm good with cameras.
I just need a fluffer. Is there a fluff? Were you?
I did say fluffer earlier.
I know.
Hey, to me, fluffer, like say fluffer and glory hole, those things crack me up. They just crack me up.
Those are great terms.
I mean, it is. It's like your glory hole. Like, yeah, okay, whatever.
There used to be a band here in town called like the Banana Blender Surprise. They were wild.
Oh, I don't
there was
remember that.
a
I
lot
don't
of
remember
wild
that.
bands at Austin, and they had
There was.
these like these girls that would get up on stage and dance, and they were called the Devil's Fluffers.
Oh my god.
Yeah, yeah.
Did I ever tell you that the best?
But wait.
They ever saw the Butthole Surfers? It was in Dallas, and it was at Theater Gallery, and I'm up there watching them, and they've got like penis reconstructive surgery.
Yeah.
Over there, and
Yeah.
they've got a girl in a cage.
Yeah.
And it was like, and Gibby's dad was a kid that I used to watch him. He Mr. Peppermint.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he was standing there.
Well, let's do a Butthole Surfer.
Oh, let's
show.
totally do a Butthole Surfers.
Yeah.
I'll totally do that one. But go ahead,
Kiko.
But
But
go
I'm
ahead.
just
Go ahead,
saying, Kiko and Lavender Moon
you're
as a
right.
record
from
is
that
this.
from that album cover. Just the album cover to me always was like, I don't know who made that, but it was such a cool looking,
Yeah.
that neon green, that dark blue, and all that
Yeah.
stuff. And it was at this kind of this weird angle.
Yeah, no,
it just sort of to me it brought me into something.
There's a nightmarish quality to
Yeah,
that
yeah.
record. It's not because the themes there's disturbing themes like Reva's house.
Mm-hmm.
They're talking about. There's just a couple of rockers on there to keep. There's Whiskey Train.
Yeah.
Or Whiskey Trail, and
Yeah.
there's the train don't stop here anymore.
Yeah.
There's enough of that to keep it going, but man, the themes of that are disturbing.
It's pretty dark.
It's a disturbing. I mean, like Angels with Dirty Faces, and I mean, like I don't think anybody. I mean, they brought this kind of ethos of the Mexico, the immigrants from the South, Mexico, they brought that into the mainstream in a real subtle way. I mean, like if you listen, Angels with Dirty Faces, you listen to, so many of their songs that deal with the struggles of like migrants.
Well, like I said,
in
it's
California.
something that you and I don't relate. We don't know about that,
Yeah.
right? That coming back and forth in the border, or being part of an area that was actually your country to begin with.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then all of a sudden now somebody's going, no, wait a minute, it's our
Yeah.
country,
Yeah.
and you're odd man out.
Yeah.
And it's like, wait a minute, I was the man in. Why all of a sudden now I'm odd man out?
It's so arbitrary.
No, and it is, and for people to look at anybody and
I mean, because
Not-
you know what, like earlier this year, I was in Baja, California.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
was down in Ensenada, and the weekend, it's 2 hours, hour and a half from San Diego.
San Diego, yeah.
And I mean, it's Mexico, America. It's not. If the border wasn't there, it would just be.
Oh yeah.
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 I don't know how to say it, but I mean, it's like it's just you get the whole idea of how like that the exchange of everything down in there is just so
Yeah. And to sit there and like treat some group of people as lesser,
yeah.
is just ridiculous. And in light of coming up on November 3rd here is even more ridiculous. And but those guys, I think what you said is absolutely correct. Is that they made a huge statement
without making a statement.
in a subtle way, without making a statement, but yet it was a huge statement.
Yeah.
Because I know this much, they made me very aware of what Mexican Americans were going through and doing. Not that I'm sitting there going, "Oh, I understand the plight," not by any stretch of the imagination, no, but it made me aware of that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And that which. And back to this whole MTV, cutting edge thing is like, I just saw something that was so different than what I knew, but I just knew that I loved that shit. I just was like, whatever those guys are doing is fucking awesome. I just knew that I couldn't get enough of that. You know, I mean, it's just, I just find that band and like how they're not, and we've talked about this before, and I agree with you. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is bullshit. But if you're going to have a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, how the fuck you don't have Los Lobos in there is fucking even more bullshit. And by the way, don't say the word fuck, Dave. Come on, be cool.
All right, I'm sorry. I know I did it a few times.
I got to check that fucking box.
I want to get better about
I got to
it.
check that fucking box when I turn these things in. It says adult language.
And then, so after that, then what? I mean, that's obviously then they go to Colossal Head.
Colossal Head is amazing.
And to me, that's where I could see. I thought the Latin Playboys were an extension of Kika, but actually, I think Colossal Head, because it's got those more, it's got that weird cover. I mean, here's the thing about this.
Boys cover
I wanted to, I didn't send you that thing.
I know.
Because
you didn't send me anything.
Actually,
hey Dave, I'm going to send something to you.
Received and reciprocated.
If you can't see, I just flipped Dave off.
But see, here's the weird
But
thing.
with love.
It's like, I guess I should have sent it to you because the I thought it was so boring.
I guess you should have. Yeah.
Can I please explain it without you just devolving into like Elizabeth Taylor?
What? Elizabeth Taylor. I love that. She whispered everything on purpose so the cameras have to get closer.
Well, you remember what on an earlier episode where Joe Strummer talked about what's his name? Mick Jones? Is it Mick?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And he said that at the end he was like, Elizabeth Taylor on a bad hair day. Or no, Elizabeth Taylor in a foul mood. Hard he wants to get along with.
I understand. I can see some bands at one point just going, I fucking hate everybody. I get it. But go ahead.
I mean, the weird thing is like they like in an interview like that I saw with all of them on stage, it was like painful almost.
The interview that I didn't get to
that
hear.
you didn't see.
I didn't get to.
Because I didn't send it to you because I didn't think it was worth it. But now that I'm thinking about it,
I know. Did they masturbate?
Yeah, they did. They did. They had. Come on, man! Stop this craziness.
Yeah. Get serious now.
Anyway, so the dichotomy between how they're just journeymen. Like the first time I saw them, I was actually disappointed. The first time I saw them because Murder Hornet.
You mean saw them live?
Yeah, at Aquafest, and I was like, they were great.
You talking about Aquafest?
Yeah, but they were sort of like, it was just like so great music, but like nothing exciting about it. But like the dichotomy about how like there's no standout personality in this group. But yet
you're right.
What they do as an artistic statement is like, you've got this. They say. I mean, if you were to listen, you would think like these guys have nothing to really say. If you listen to
they have everything to say.
But then you listen to the music they make, and it's like.
And from point A to point Z, it's like, because what it is, it's like they're real. They're guys.
They're just real people.
They're guys that are like, they have families, they have lives, they're moving along, they're doing things, I guess they're not like a lot of like, you look at Van Halen. We're talking about Eddie Van Halen. That's a band in a whole going a different route,
And they were contemporaries.
Totally contemporaries.
Crazy? Yeah, right.
But yet, but Los Lobos is like this band where it's like these, for lack of a better term, grown ass men. It's like they've come along and they've become, they've done stuff. But what's weird is that usually when you think about that sort of deal is that people become very complacent and they kind of pull back and they kind of hold back and they just sort of like, but no, these guys became fathers, became, dads, husbands, and all this stuff, and yet still created this kick-ass music all along the way.
Well, Hidalgo said in this interview that I didn't send you, which turns out to be,
Please tell me, because I don't know what you're talking about.
man, it's super interesting the more I think about it.
Yeah, the one that's so boring that has been noted from, I don't know, about a minute one into this podcast until now.
I mean, the more I think, it's a real treasure trove.
Okay. Note to self, Dave holds back.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm so inferior to you in so many ways that I feel like I have to pull.
Cheater, pumpkin eater.
Yeah.
Cheater, pumpkin eater. That's my tie-in to October 31st. Hey, by the way, you know what the scariest mask is you can wear at Halloween this Halloween? No mask.
Yeah. It's
know.
Halloween.
It is Halloween. I know.
You know, I just listened to Gates of Gold too. I mean, Gates of Gold, like their last record is
Everything they do is like it's
they've never really
no bad, nothing
They never
bad,
fucked
nothing
up.
bad.
they never fucked up.
All right, so I think we're close to wrapping this up here because we have I think we have shown our love for Los Lobos.
And you've got to go watch a football game.
I have to go watch a football game. Oklahoma State beat Texas. Yay! So
That's gonna happen.
yeah. It is. So, but I just find Los Lobos to be one of the greatest American bands, period. And I think amongst you, me, and a multitude of people, they get their due, but I don't think they get the real due because art ain't fair at the end of the day.
Art ain't fair.
Art
God
ain't
damn
fair.
it, you just said a mouthful there, brother.
I know.
You've kind of laid it on the line, my friend.
That's true. That's why this podcast won't be very big. And I'm sticking with the fact that this is art.
But it might have legs. It might last a while. We're like,
as long as there's mezcal and beer, this thing's gonna last
And music.
until we sober up.
yeah, God,
Until mezcal, beer, you, me, music. This will live on
amen.
until the day that we go, fuck this.
Absolutely.
You know, whatever. So, anything else you want to say? By the way, little sippy sip. Here we go.
Yeah, let's do one more.
Oh, sippy sip. Is there anything you want to say about the Wolves?
Oh, the Wolves, man. Well,
Yes.
You know, I tried to say everything I could say right then.
Well, you did a great job there, Dave. Dave, as always, I appreciate the shit out of you, brother.
And I appreciate you, my friend.
And we appreciate everybody out there listening to, what's the name of our podcast?
Raconteurista.
There we go.
By the way, happy Dia de los Muertos.
There we are.
We're there.
There we are.
That's why we're doing it. Yeah, that's why we're doing the Los Lobos thing.
Yeah.
We didn't even know we were doing that.
We didn't know it. No, we had
no idea we were
No
talking.
idea.
God damn it, are we brilliant or what?
Yeah. Okay, so next time, is it my choice?
Yeah.
Okay.
Pull it out of your ass right now.
No.
Oh, after the zucchini, by the way.
That's where I keep it. And
That's right. Of course you do. Because nobody's going to go for it.
because you never know what's going to happen.
Look, all right, we got to break in the house. We got to get.
Okay.
First we got to
Okay. I really have one that I want to, but I'm going to hold back on the one I want to. I'm going to throw a kink to you. All right? The Minutemen.
I know nothing about them.
Really? Okay, let me ask you the Replacements.
I know more about them.
You make your choice. You tell me which one you want to go with.
You know what? I don't know the Minutemen at all.
Really?
I know who they are.
Do you want to do the Minutemen?
Let's do the Minutemen. Given,
Yeah.
I couldn't like name one Minutemen song.
Yeah. Well, we'll go ahead and say the Minutemen,
Yeah.
and we'll see as the
I'll listen to the Replacements also.
Yeah. So, because Dave and I do this every 2 weeks. We
Yeah.
do this every 2 weeks because the reality is if Dave and I got together every day, we'd be fucking alcoholics, even
Yeah.
worse than we are.
Fist fights.
It would be exactly as you would envision.
Yeah.
Exactly as you would envision it.
And it would be as beautiful as you can imagine.
Exactly. So, we're gonna pinpoint. We're gonna put a pin in the Minutemen, just because it's so weird. Or I'll do Butthole Surfers. You want to do Butthole Surfers?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll come back. We'll do Butthole Surfers.
Yeah. You
Yeah,
got
yeah.
one of three.
Okay. We got one of the.
But let's do
Minutemen,
Butthole.
I'll go Butthole Surfers.
All right,
I'll go Butthole Surfers.
Let's go Butthole.
Let's go Butthole.
Okay, let's get out of here.
Let's go Zucchini Hole Surfers. Zucchini Hole Surfers here as a callback. And by the way, you know that where we are right now, we're not very far down the road from where the Butthole Surfers used to have their ranch out here in Dripping Springs.
They had a ranch.
Oh, they rented a place out right down the road. Yeah. So there's your tie-in. All right. So here we go. We're going to call this one
Let's call it.
a day. All right.
Adios.
This is Brian Fuller with my good buddy
Dave Kendall.
Kendall coming to you from the Raconteurista podcast.
Adios.
Peace out, bitches.